Hi guys, welcome back. It's been a while since I've hosted a podcast. Life is life, and time goes by quite quickly. So I'm glad to be back hosting the Musings with the Movement Man. Slightly different at the moment. I'm speaking to people, coaches, managers, leaders, things like that, as well as fitness professionals and rehabilitation experts. But at the moment, the next half a dozen are going to go down the coaching, managing, leadership type route, because I want to get a deeper understanding of those subjects myself, but also I want to give you guys a bigger picture to human development, people interaction, people behavior, and things like that. So welcome back to the Musings with the Movement Man. Today I have I refer to this guy as the boss. Always have done, always will do. Every time I text him, speak to him, email him, have a chat in the corridor because we work together. It's always the boss because he is the boss. So it's an honour again, and it's good to see him because we work together, but we haven't seen each other for a while because this recording will go out in this hiatus that we're all sitting in at the moment. It's Mr. Dave Hall. How are you, Dave?
I'm good, mate. Very kind words. Thank you.
No, mate, is the boss. The boss is always going to be the boss. And there's always one boss, mate, and that's you. So really, what I want to chat to you today, mate, because I know we have loads of chats and we sit down in our lunch breaks and just breaks in general. We sit down and we chew the fat and we moan and we groan and we try to put the worlds to right in whatever way we can and come out of it a little bit better sometimes and sometimes a little bit worse. And we've had 3 odd years now working together in some capacity. Had some good times, had some strange times, had some sad times. But more importantly, we've had the privilege to be around some unbelievable students and unbelievable players in the last 3 years. And I know a lot of the boys will be wanting to listen to this. But one thing that doesn't really come across to the outside world, only when you've experienced the family, is what is Dave's Hall philosophy on football?
Well, how long do you want, mate? Because obviously we've got to make this quite short and snappy, and I don't want it to be a podcast where we're sending people to sleep. But I think the big thing with me is that actually with regards to football, and as you know, the environment we work in the college environment, it's actually more than football. It's about developing the person, and that is the epicenter of what we do. And obviously a lot of things that people people want to do in life, or how they should be behaving in life, that can be transferred onto the football pitch. I think the word that I use, or I use quite a few phrases, as you know, but a big thing for me is with the age that we work with is adaptability. So having the ability to make decisions, to overcome certain barriers or problems in different situations, and I think that's something that's quite, to an extent at times, it's quite lacking. It's quite lacking within football itself. I think it's great to have an identity, and we have an identity, which hopefully we'll share over the next few minutes or so. But whenever you walk in, so whenever I walk into my job, whenever you walk into your job, whenever the guys or girls for that matter, the girls program, whenever they walk onto a pitch, there's always a different problem to solve. And I think it is really important to have that adaptability, and also along the lines of kind of very much the person being the centre. Obviously the respect that you have for each other, and that's why we'll probably go into it a bit more deeper, but we do coin the phrase family, and it's very much a family where we are working. So that's quite brief for the minute. I know you'll probe me a little bit more in terms of more depth, but they're kind of a couple of areas that we look at, definitely. I know.
Yeah, no, that I think that's sort of a good introduction to what you do, we do, and others who have involvement in the academy. But more importantly, I think this is this chat is more of You know, it's not just Worthing College. It's not just the academy where we're both privileged to work at. It's you know, it's general. You know, it's a philosophy. You know, and I use this word philosophy, and I asked, you know, I started off with the question of philosophy of football, but I think it's just a philosophy of human development, human movement, human behaviors and things like that. It's just, you know, when you have set of individuals together, you know, there must be a need, or there must be some philosophy of how to get a group of individuals striving for the same achievement, for the same end goal. Excuse me. And we use this word family, and I think everybody uses the word family. You know, I think it must be one of the most coined phrases that there ever was. This word, you know, we are a family. You know, every sports team uses it. Every group setting, from business to management to, you know, to sporting field, like I just said, everyone uses this word or this term family, and everyone interprets it differently. We have a slightly different, I think, understanding the word family. What would you say when people say to you, Dave, I keep hearing this word family at Worthing College, you know? What is it? What is this family?
Well, I think we take it back to basics, and I think taking it back to basics with everything is something that is highly important. Because if I'm honest, I think obviously there's a lot of information out there that people can take in and interpret differently, but I really think it's important just to keep things extremely basic, you know. And when you are in the family, or when you come into the family, you know, we will treat everyone exactly the same. We will respect everyone exactly the same. We will make sure that everyone is looked after. We will make sure that everyone strives to be the best person they can be. And the other thing, which, you know, it's not something, and again, it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that has to be embedded within a culture and within a philosophy, is that it becomes self-manageable. So, you know, for example, team talks at half time. You know that for years now we've just let the guys have 3 or 4 minutes to themselves, and those team talks, actually listening to them, are, you know, they kind of almost do the job for you. Or, you know, you're in a team meeting and there's things that aren't going quite right, and you know, the players have the respect of each other to be critical and to heap praise, but also to be able to take that and take it on board and know the reason why we're doing it. And that could be for anything. That could be for, you know, problems that are external to the college. So it might be family troubles, might be, you know, partner troubles, might be anything like that, feeling a bit down, feeling a bit low. Obviously this time is really important, because, you know, the big thing for a lot of people, which I'm finding of the age group in particular, is motivation, and being able to have that structure. So again, there's been things that we've been putting in place during this time to provide that. But again, that's only as strong as the group itself, because, you know, it's okay for me to put loads of things on, but obviously if they don't believe in the family, if they don't believe in what we're looking to do for them to make them the best they can be, and also as a unit, you know, they wouldn't do it. And obviously, you know, the numbers that have been involved, and if people haven't been turning up, it's not just me that's been doing it, but I know that other people have been contacting people and saying, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" All that kind of stuff. And that is something that it takes time. And I think, obviously, being in the position that we are, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to produce or develop or steer people in the right direction to be successful adults. You know, and that can be, you know, for a lot of reasons, like having their own family, having a job, you know, gaining good income, being successful at university, being successful at home or abroad, in addition to maybe being, you know, professional footballers, as you know, we've had a few, or playing at a really high level. But I think the real important thing is, if anyone's going to take anything away, is it's about the basics, and it's about explaining it in a basic way, and it's about understanding it in a basic way. And obviously, you know, to some it might be a bit primal in terms of, you know, we are a family. If anyone disrespects us, then, you know, then they'll be dealt with. And it's beyond football, it's beyond education, it's more about life, which I think for me, and having that ability for them to self-manage themselves will only enhance their chances as they move forward. Because obviously, as you know, it's only a 2-year, 3-year process with us.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. Now, I'm going to delve in a little bit more, because I think one of the things that, impressions are made by, by individuals who have a little understanding of what the impression's made up of. So we have an impression that people have of the work that you do with the academy, and guys like myself and other people that help. They have an impression of who we are and what we do, without actually understanding our philosophy or the philosophy that you've set out. And I like to go back to this sort of, this basic environment, because I think one of the things that we always talk about is reality. Situations are real. The situation we're in at the moment is real. There is no, you can't picture it any other way. It's a catastrophic thing that's happening to the world, but it's real. And you particular, you have this reality of what you do, and some people call that sort of the basis. What sort of things have you developed, you think, over the years when you're looking at sort of, this real environment, this real natural, family orientated, one for all for one, hard working, want to win, try the very, and I feel, these are sort of cliches, but, giving everything they have to develop themselves as individuals, taking criticism, working on it, and continue. What sort of things have you developed over the years that makes things basic, but actually clever?
Well, I think, and obviously we've had a lot of time to reflect recently, and I've obviously, as you know, I've done a lot of digging around and found a lot of newspaper articles when the academy started off. Obviously now it's 13 years old. And I think I've changed a bit over the years in terms of my coaching, but there's certain principles that haven't. And I think, first of all, the big thing for me is organisation, and organisation as a team, not necessarily as individuals. And I'll come to the development of individuals in a minute, because I think that's something I've definitely developed even more over the last 3 or 4 years. But organisation is always key, and I know people go, oh yeah, set pieces, but it's stuff that it's those little 1%, gains, that anything that can improve a performer and also understand in terms of their organisation. I think the other thing that I've always tried to do, is I've always tried to make sure they're a team. I'd rather have a good team, or an outstanding team, than outstanding individuals. And I think that is first and foremost for me. Obviously, there's been players down the years that are and still are, exceptional talents. But the team comes first. And looking at how things have definitely developed. I'm, again, with me, because there's so many competitors out there. The environment's getting more diluted. You need to stay ahead. You need to think about what is the next thing, what is something that that we can offer, that we can do, which is simple yet highly effective and can add on those percentages. So the structure of how I play, or how we play, it's simple but effective. It's adaptable. It's things like in terms of the delivery and coaching sessions, it's like, well, we've done it now for years, in the fact of, and the boys, and I'll talk to boys that that have been with me, that were there with me 10, 12 years ago. They understand. If I said 3-team, everyone would know what that is. If I said training games, everyone would know what that is. They know what to expect. But how it's developed over the years is kind of how. And obviously this is for a lot of young coaches out there. As young coaches, they're very much right. I need to give that, all my information I have, I need to give that to the player. You know, and I was very much like that because I've always been quite vocal, whether it's a coach or as a player. But then the biggest thing that I learned was using observation and being more observant and stepping back and, you know, and kind of, yes, having that intensity, which is important, but still, you know, stepping back and seeing things that maybe others might not see. And obviously that comes with experience. Again, seeing players and maybe changing their positions for the good of their development, which has happened quite a lot. There's been a lot of centre midfielders that have gone on and been, you know, excellent centre halves. There's a lot of, you know, the other way. We've had one this year where, you know, a lad centre half, absolutely outstanding, has gone into centre midfield and, you know, has been one of the best midfielders in the league for what he does. And it's just those kind of things, really. The organisation and the team ethic and what's been developed over the last 3 or 4 years in particular, or probably even longer, is that kind of that self-management. So the importance of the players looking after themselves and making decisions for themselves, and that you know, that is born through, you know, the training. That is born through the work that we do with the SPC, with the strength conditioning. That is the work that, you know, me and you do together. You know, yourself on the psychology, on the movement, on the behaviourism. You know, Jimmy on the attention to detail. The boys this year, you know, Joel and G with the outstanding video analysis provision that they've provided. It's just, you know, adding those little bits together. And for me, I don't know everything, and I shouldn't know everything. But the thing that I've tried to develop over the years is something that, you know, I take things from other sports, and rugby, believe it or not, obviously our department's very rugby oriented. I take a lot from those guys. And I also, you know, additional sports, but, you know, rugby, what they tend to do successfully is they tend to, you know, they have someone who is, whatever they want to call it, head coach, whatever, but then they surround themselves with experts in different fields. And obviously, you know, I'd like to think that has built now over the last few years and definitely really bearing fruit in terms of player development, but more importantly, people development, because we have them for such a short space of time.
Guys, if you listen to this, I think, you know, we're talking football today, and it's probably a personal conversation that we're having because we're both involved in the same environment and the same people on a day-to-day basis in our own capacities. But I think if you're listening to this, which I know you guys are, and you are coaches, you're grassroots coaches, you're new into the coaching game, you've got, you know, your high-level coaches, you're working in different levels of professional football and maybe other sports. I think if we break that back down into basic analogy, doing the basics extremely well gives people identity of what to do. And once people have identity of what they do, and you have a group of people all doing the basic things extremely well and are happy to do the basics, but wants development and even achieving greater on the basics, and making what they do even better over and over again, you have a collaboration of a group of individuals who become self-autonomy.
I think it's flipping on its head as well, because, you know, sorry, mate, I forgot to mention this as well. It's like, you know, and this is something I've definitely learned off yourself, and you know, it's flipping coaching on its head. I think always in coaching, people are looking for the negatives. They always look for what's wrong. What's wrong with that player? Why doesn't that player do this? Whereas, why don't you look at that player, look at that person and go, do you know what? They do this really well. Let's overemphasize that fact times 100. And if they continue to work with us or with whoever, they will pick up, or they will develop their so-called faults and be even better. So, for example, if someone is a quick player and is direct, well, why don't they be quick and direct all the time? If someone is a tough tackling midfielder, why don't they be a tough tackling midfielder all the time? And if they develop the fact that they can play on the ball, well, that's brilliant. But everyone has a place in their team. Everyone has a place in the team in terms of how it can be effective. You know, you cannot run a midfield with, I don't think, you can't run a midfield with 3, what people may call flair players, or, you know, you can't do that. You need to have someone, and it goes through history of the game. You know, you need to have someone with that kind of leadership quality, with that determination, with that ability to put themselves about a bit. You know, so again, I think the real important thing for me, sort of basics is, and whenever we get a player in, the first thing we'll look at is their strengths. We won't look at their weaknesses. We'll look at their strengths and we'll go, right, how could they fit into our way of playing? And then obviously off the back of that, then that's when we produce our teams and we try and make sure that they develop.
Yeah, I think that's you know, that's probably the main catalyst of why, you know, there are successes coming out of the college, is the fact not only is the basics done extremely well, and I keep challenged to do even better on the basics. And guys, when you listen to this, basic skills done exceptionally well is what makes people lots and lots of money. It's what makes CEOs the biggest businessmen in the country. It's what makes professional players the professional players they are in football. It makes what, you know, anybody who's successful in their career do the basics extremely well and do the basics better than anybody else. By having a set of environment where people want to develop themselves with those basics, and having a group environment where people are a collective with no hierarchy, by giving people the autonomy to make their own decisions and not step in and say that is completely wrong or that is completely right, is let people experience and experiential learning, as we do in education, to give people the opportunity to develop themselves and their own skills and ways of solving problems rather than somebody else enforcing that. But allowing people to be successful and encourage on areas where other people deemed false. I like the fact that, you know, you as an individual are allowing individuals who are coming to you academically and football wise, who have been told that they can't do this and they shouldn't be doing that and that is wrong and that will never get them to the next step, etc., etc. You embrace all those. You encourage all those things where people say that's wrong. You say do that even better. Where people say that will never get to your next step, you say do that even better. You encourage what they do extremely well, where other people are trying to change those traits. And that's one of the great things about what you do at the college. But also it ties to the next question. What are the problems you see with current coaching? You know, the current coaching world tries to make things all sing and all dance when they don't need to. They try to reinvent the wheel when the wheel can't be reinvented. They try to make things more sexier than they can never be before. It's like Men's Health magazine. You know, they try to make every single person that Men's Health magazine six pack because that's the norm. Well, actually, again, it's away from what reality is for most people. So for me, coaching is one of those environments where people trying to be clever when there's no need to be clever, and actually thinking they are clever takes them away from even being clever. That's what I think about coaching as we stand. What is your pet peeves about the current way coaching is going?
I think people overcomplicate things too much. I think people use 1,000 words when they could just use 5. I think at times you can be, you can be distracted by everything that's on social media in terms of people doing this. Oh, I've got to do the next thing. You know, it's an example I use on the courses that I run. Is that I go, you know, I'll walk or cycle or whatever around by the local village green, and I'll see coaches out there and they're doing an amazing job. And obviously, for 1 minute, you know, I'm not tarnishing every coach with the same brush at all, because there's some amazing work out there. I work with some amazing grassroots coaches who I'm still in contact with today, and they are doing an outstanding job. But I go down there Just having a look, because obviously my boy's getting to the age now where he started playing, and he's getting a little bit of a bug, excitement for it. And it looks like someone has just splurged the Pro Direct catalogue, and there are other catalogues out there, literally all over the green. So you've got passing arcs, you've got all these kind of different fads and products that, my question to my coaches is, whenever I work with them, is I said, well, do they get used in the game? And the answer is no. You don't see a passing arc on the pitch. You don't even see a cone on the pitch. So, so is there a way where you can make your coaching as realistic to the game as possible? And I think that's what I've tried to stay true with over all the years I've coached. So, can I actually, or as a player, can you relate to what we're doing to the game? So I do think people overcomplicate it. I also think that, as you said, I think I like playing against teams that only play one way. I think there's a lot of that. I think everyone, tries to go after what the pros are doing, which, that's cool. And if that's your thing, that's fine. But at the end of the day, if you take it back, especially in the level we're playing at, and obviously senior football, which we want players to go on to, at the end of the day, you're judged on your performance and you're judged on the result, which I know is a bit controversial. And yes, at our level, it's about development, about learning, and we will lose games, and we do lose games, and it is good to lose games. But I just think that, you've got to be effective with what you're doing. There's no point in stringing 30 or 40 passes across your defensive third if you're going to lose the ball and concede. Having the ability to do that effectively and play the ball forward and then therefore create chances is effective. When Spain won the World Cup the first time, they played the most amount of successful long passes in the whole competition. However, they were, coined as the tiki-taka, the first tiki-taka side. So, they were effective in what they did. And I just think that, I like playing against teams that play one way because you can work them out. I don't like playing against teams that can play 3 or 4 ways because it's more difficult to work them out. And that's what, we try and do. And we try and play to our strengths of our players. So if our players are physically strong and quick, then we play to that. If they are technically gifted and intelligent footballers, which we are also trying to develop, then we play to that. So they're the two big things for me. I think, overcomplicating things and only playing one way.
Here's a question for you, because there's a few questions that some of the boys have asked me to ask. So hopefully we get to some of those. But just one question. And I something I posted up months ago, and it got a bit of a, it got a result on the poll, which, it didn't surprise me, but it's never said in public. What would you rather do? Would you rather win 1-0 with an 89th minute corner, but play absolutely shocking and get booed off the park, or lose 4-0, but get praise of how great your side is in the old tiki-taka, nice one touch, here we go football?
You know what my answer is.
I don't know what your answer's going to be, but
you know what my answer is. Win 1-0.
I think one of the things that people don't understand is, this is the debate about, do you want to win 1-0 with an 89th minute corner and get booed off the park, or would you rather lose 4-0 and have great little football patterns and styles and tiki-taka and you get applauded off, etc., etc. What people don't realise is that as much as every single thing you do is about developing the skill, the main skill that you need to develop is wanting to win. It's wanting to win and actually having enough empathy about you that when you don't win, you feel upset, you feel destroyed, you feel disgusted with yourself. You go back to the drawing board and see why you didn't win, because winning means that much to you. Because one of the things that people don't quite get, the difference between this, would you rather win 1-0 and get booed off the pitch, etc., or lose 4-0, is that, yeah, losing 4-0 might give you a few minutes of pride, but you still lost. And people get used to losing, and people accept losing as being part of their life. So that's not only losing a game of football, but it's losing that job interview. It's losing that relationship if things don't go well. It's losing friends. It's losing money. It's losing finance. It's losing everything. If you accept losing and you don't mind losing because there's a little, you show something that losing that people like, but you still keep on losing, then you'll never win. But more importantly, it's not even about you never win. It's about you never even try to win. You never even try to develop. So your work ethic goes down, your commitment goes down, your confidence, your motivation. All these things start to suffer because you have no understanding of what it means to be successful or not. And that's the argument I always say, that winning 1-0 at 89th minute goal from a corner and getting booed off the park means that you've worked excessively hard and given everything you've got physically and mentally for that 1-0 win. And that is, for my opinion, that is so much more development than having 5 minutes where someone goes, you're quite tired, you've got quite nice little skills, whether it's in work or life or whatever. But ultimately, that is not enough to sustain that feeling of how much you've got to work harder for the next time. And let's take it, let's be serious about it. We are in an environment where we've all got to work extremely hard in lots of different ways for the next amount of months when this situation finishes. So that's my little rant, because I think that's one thing where I think we get criticised for. People don't understand that 89th minute from a corner has been 15, 16 people working excessively hard, not wanting to lose. And that is a trait that hopefully all the boys that listen to this, and past and present, have taken with them when they've left. Never giving up, finding ways to be successful, finding ways to win. And we say, win that battle, win the war. Find those little pockets where they get success and they never give up on trying to achieve that success.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. It's like that 1-0 win, I'd praise the defending clean sheet and I'd praise the set piece. So, it's those transferable skills, especially in this current climate. There's people, there's NHS workers, working their backsides off to make sure that, people are safe and well. And obviously, unfortunately, people are losing their lives. They're losing their battles. But, you can't, and in this time in particular, you can't sit back. And that's why I'm a bit worried for the college guys and girls, because, some of them are losing motivation, which would be understandable. So, it's our duty, it's my duty to make sure that, their motivation is maintained. So then when we do come out the other side, that, we're ready to go again. And I think, to be honest, if people don't like what we do, then that's fine. That's life. I wouldn't give a second's thought to them. The people that I care about is the families, the staff, the students. They're the ones that we care about, and anyone else that doesn't respect what we do, then that's fine, that's cool. But yeah, definitely those traits are transferable. And I think the other thing as well is it's all right understanding that or saying that. It's something that, again, embedded within the culture, you have to magnify all the time. So you have to say, so it then becomes natural to them that everything they do, so whether it's in the classroom, training, at work, at home, with their families, or on the pitch, they are transferring everything that they do, and their traits are being over exaggerated in a positive way.
Yeah. And guys, before I move on to a few questions, I just want to highlight something really, is that, when you listen to this, a lot of you guys might say, well, we do that anyway, and I do that. And great. If you do that, then brilliant. Great. Because, every single person that deals with any individual, it's never about the person. It's never about you. It's not about Jimmy Punter. It's not about, G and Joe. Not about me. It's not about any other person. Not about any other teacher in the world or coach or manager. It's about the people. It's 100% about the people. And we're just lucky enough to be in a situation where we facilitate an environment where we get growth. And the success of the growth is not the results that you get on a pitch. The success of your philosophy, Dave Hall, the success of your legacy is when 10, 15 years post, you still walk into environments where you see people that you haven't taught for 10 years who will stop dead in their tracks, whatever they're doing. It makes no difference if they're training in a high elite level sport, if they're at their work or whatever, they will stop dead in their tracks and come over and talk to you about you, your family, your children, your job. How are you? When people who you haven't spoke to, or people that you haven't coached or taught for 5, 6, 7, 10 years are giving you things like meat and food in this time, which I saw a picture, and to be honest with you, I looked in my cupboard, I had like 2 sausages and 1 burger. I was well gutted. Right?
Nice.
Oh, mate, but when you can get that other people can't, and the person who does that purposely does it for you, when you still get phone calls about people getting married and asking you to go to these things post 10 or 15 years, that is the success. Because once you're in the family, it's family for life. And people might say, well, we do that. But my question to you is, are you having people 10, 12, 15 years post being taught and taught as a player in a team or in education, still speaking to you about your family, still making contact directly, picking up the phone and speaking to you? Are they still stopping what they're doing in their tracks? Are they still giving you or expressing what they do now for work and giving you stuff from that work over and over again? Do you get, gifts from overseas players, parents and carers give you gifts? Do you get that? And if the answer is yes, then great, you're doing it. But if the answer is no, then I suggest you look at your foundation, you look at your philosophy, because it's all about people first and skill second. And whatever you do at the college is the most successful environment there is, not necessarily because you get good results and games, because sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, but you have a multitude and a magnified of people, hundreds of people that post education and post football are still contacting you on a regular basis to talk to you about their life and how they're doing, and asking you the most important questions of life. How are you? How is your family? How is your health? And how are you keeping? To me, that is the success that money cannot buy.
It's very, I always mention in my tweets about being proud. And I think, I'm very proud of everyone that I've worked with and everyone that, that has come through our doors. And the biggest thing for me is where, if I talk to someone and they're really successful in life, and success in life has many things, it's not all about money. It's about having, a secure job. It's about having a family, successful marriage, partnership, all those kind of things, that are, obviously successful business people as well, people doing well in football, because obviously that's quite a minute number that end up being professionals in a game. So, that's really important to me, and we're massively proud of our alumni. And obviously, I think the big thing that I always want to make sure is I want to make sure people enjoy it. I want to make sure people enjoy their time with us. So, obviously football's a very pressurised environment, results-driven business, especially at the older, at senior football. And to an extent, at our level, because if you don't get the results, people go, oh, they're not doing so well, I might not come to them, this, that and the other. It's about having fun. And the boys know that we do have fun and enjoying it. And if people enjoy themselves, and if people feel, there is a term being comfortably uncomfortable, but if they are, safe within that environment, but know that they're going to be pushed to their limits, there's a chance that they will be, the best they can be. But they have to enjoy it. If they hate it, they don't want it, they won't want to do it.
And enjoyment comes in many forms, boss.
Yeah.
Okay, a few questions to round up. Got a couple questions from a couple of boys. I ain't going to mention the boys. I know who they are. First one that comes to your head. Don't think about it too much, because I know, we could be all day long. So first comes to your head. So, favourite college footballing moment ever?
Jesus.
Yeah.
I can be quick. 2 moments really. I'm going to cheat. First moments are literally every county cup win we've had. They've got different stories to tell. You know, to win it 4 years in a row is outstanding. To have been in the final the 5th year in a row, which unfortunately probably won't be played now, you know, that's ridiculous. So, you know, that's one. And then the other one is from this year. Actually, we've had loads of great moments this year. It seems to have all, you know, there's a lot that have come at once, and you know, probably boys will say, well, what about this, what about that? But I think the AOC team beating Western at Lancing and seeing the pictures of literally the squad, the boys that were watching, all celebrating together, you know, and what happened after that, you know. So to beat a team that are England College's Premier League side, and literally, you know, if you want to call them a second team, I don't, but you know, for them to beat them and the way that they did, you know, that's an outstanding moment for me.
Favourite college goal ever?
I know who's asked this one, but it's not one of his. Even though there's quite a few. I'd probably say the best goal I've ever seen is one that wasn't caught on camera. A guy called David Callahan, who's now living in Australia, you know, having a great life. So hope you're well, Dave, if you're listening. He scored from kickoff. I know Ricky scored one from further out in quite a big semi-final, so that's probably up there as well. But he literally from kickoff drove it, and it hit the stanchion. But it was so quick that our cameraman didn't even have the camera rolling that time. But yeah, David Callahan against AFC Wimbledon.
Cool. Best 3-team tackle ever?
He's not going to like me for this, but I think it was Isaac Vela on Charlie Williamson. So Isaac Vela, Mexican lad, came in, first ever session, didn't even know what 3-team was, couldn't even speak the language, but an absolutely top boy. He's come in and he's absolutely wiped Charlie Williamson out. And you know, and Charlie's a bit of a head loss himself, love him. But yeah, that was a good tackle, that one. Enjoy that one.
And the last one is the biggest bit of shithousery ever. There's been a few this year.
There has been a few this year, but I'm going to go back to last year. The man, the legend. We were talking about it the other day. Jamie Franklin, last minute in the County Cup final, St. Bede's on the break, and let's say he mistimed his tackle a little bit on the halfway line. So pretty much that was his, and he got booked for it, but that was his last involvement as an academy player, but it got the job done. And again, not in the textbook, but it got the job done.
And he picked the trophy up.
He did.
All right, mate. So we'll leave it there because we are going to revisit this pretty soon and you know, go into a bit more depth on some of the things we said. But for any coach out there, any player, past, present, future, what are your leaving, your parting words on this glorious day?
Keep it basic, keep it real, and enjoy what you do.
Brilliant. Dave Hall, as always, it's been a pleasure. This is just a normal chat on a Tuesday afternoon over a coffee and a bacon butty normally. So it's good for people to listen. Guys, I'm going to leave it there, but I just want you to take away that, you know, whether you are running your business, whether you run your family, whether you're, you know, part of a football environment, whether you're working, whether you're looking for work at this time because, you know, things haven't gone your way, whether you're in education and you're learning something, doesn't matter what it is. Today's talk was really about some basic principles, doing the basic things exceptionally well. Be proud of doing those basic things exceptionally well and keep striving to make them even better, to do those basic things even better and be the best there is doing the basic things. Having as much fun as you can, even if it's against the norm a little bit. Have so much fun as you can. Do it with people who are like-minded and you can achieve some unbelievable things in your career. whether it's in education, whether it's in sport, whether it's owning a business, whatever. Doing the basics extremely well, want to do the basics even better, and loving the basics. Having as much fun as you can in all different capacities with as much people as you can, and having people around you who have the same values and principles and who are positive in what you're doing like you are in them. If you get that, guys, I tell you what, everything else falls into place. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Musing for the Moon Man. I'm glad to be back, but more importantly, I'm glad to be back with this man, first of all, on the podcast. Until next time, see you soon. Take care of yourself. Stay inside and, have some fun. Have a good day, guys. Speak soon. Bye-bye.